Imagine floating alone in the middle of the ocean. Nothing below you, except darkness. Your heartbeat gets faster. Your breathing changes. Every instinct inside your body screams. Something is watching. And then, from the deep blue beneath you, a shadow begins to rise. Silent. Massive. Ancient. A shark. But here's the terrifying part scientists are still trying to understand. Sharks may not just detect movement. They may detect fear itself. Your heartbeat. Your panic. Your muscle tension. Even the electrical signals exploding through your nervous system. Long before you ever see the shark. The shark may already know exactly where you are. Tonight, we dive into one of the ocean's most terrifying mysteries. How sharks hunt. How they sense living creatures in complete darkness. And whether humans are biologically incapable of hiding fear underwater. Because in the ocean, fear might not stay inside your mind. Fear becomes a signal. And sharks are built to read it. Intro cinematic buildup. For over 400 million years, sharks have survived mass extinctions that wiped out almost everything else on Earth. Dinosaurs disappeared. Entire oceans changed. Species vanished forever. But sharks remained. Perfected by evolution into one of the most advanced predators ever created. Fast. Silent. Sensitive beyond human imagination. They do not need light to hunt. They do not need sound to find prey. And some scientists believe their senses are so advanced that the ocean itself becomes a giant map of living energy. Every heartbeat. Every twitch. Every pulse. Detected. Section 1. The ocean is not silent. Humans experience the ocean very differently from sharks. To us, deep water feels empty. Quiet. Endless. But underwater, every movement creates information. Tiny vibrations travel through water faster than through air. A struggling fish sends panic waves through the ocean. Blood spreads in invisible currents. Electrical signals pulse through every living creature. And sharks evolved to sense all of it. Their entire body is essentially a biological surveillance machine. Millions of years ahead of human technology. Section 2. The sixth sense of sharks. Sharks possess something almost supernatural. A hidden sensory system called the Ampullae of Lorenzini. Tiny gel-filled pores around the shark's nose and head. Barely visible. But incredibly powerful. These organs can detect electrical fields produced by living animals. Including humans. Your muscles generate electricity. Your heart generates electricity. Even your nervous system constantly releases tiny electrical signals. In other words, your body is glowing electrically underwater. And sharks can see it. Even in complete darkness. Even buried beneath sand. Even when perfectly still. Scientists discovered some sharks can detect electrical signals weaker than a flashlight battery. Sensitivity so extreme. It almost sounds impossible. Section 3. Can sharks really detect fear? Here is where science becomes terrifying. Sharks probably do not understand fear emotionally the way humans do. But fear changes the human body dramatically. Your heartbeat accelerates. Your muscles tighten. Your movements become erratic. Your breathing becomes unstable. Your nervous system explodes with electrical activity. And underwater, all of those changes create signals. Stronger signals. Easier signals. More detectable signals. To a shark, panic may look like vulnerability. And vulnerability attracts predators. Divers who remain calm often move slowly and predictably. Injured or terrified animals behave differently. Fast movements. Irregular vibrations. Sudden splashing. All of it can trigger a shark's curiosity or hunting instincts. Which means, fear itself may not attract sharks. But the physical consequences of fear absolutely can. Section 4. The perfect hunter of darkness. Imagine trying to hunt in complete darkness. No flashlight. No moonlight. No sound. Yet sharks do this every single night. Some species hunt thousands of feet below the surface where sunlight completely disappears. In these depths, human vision becomes useless. But sharks continue hunting effortlessly. Because they combine multiple senses simultaneously. Smell. Pressure detection. Electrical sensing. Water vibrations. Directional hearing. Low light vision. They do not rely on one sense. They build a complete 3D image of the ocean around them. A living radar system created by evolution. Section 5. Why humans fear sharks. Humans are not naturally designed for deep water. We are land creatures entering an environment where we lose nearly every advantage. Visibility disappears. Movement slows. Escape becomes difficult. And psychologically, the ocean triggers primal fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of what cannot be seen beneath us. Sharks became the symbol of that fear. Not because they kill the most humans. In reality, sharks kill far fewer people than many other animals. But sharks represent something ancient. A predator humans cannot fully control. A reminder that deep beneath the surface, Earth still contains wild places beyond human dominance. Section 6. The most terrifying shark encounters ever recorded. Some divers describe an experience they never forget. The moment a shark changes behavior. Circling slowly. Watching. Studying. Silent passes through dark blue water. In many encounters, sharks are not attacking. They are investigating. Trying to understand what entered their environment. But when visibility drops, when panic increases, when movements become chaotic, situations can escalate dangerously fast. The ocean gives very little time for mistakes. Final cinematic ending. For millions of years, sharks have ruled an environment humans still barely understand. They do not need technology. They do not need weapons. Evolution already turned them into biological masterpieces. Creatures capable of sensing life itself through darkness. And perhaps that is why humans fear sharks so deeply. Because underwater, we are no longer the dominant species. We become vulnerable again. Fragile. Detectable. Human. Somewhere below the surface tonight, a shark is moving silently through the darkness. Reading the ocean. Sensing every heartbeat around it. And in the endless deep, fear may be louder than sound. End screen CTA. If you enjoyed this deep ocean documentary, subscribe for more cinematic science and mystery videos. Because Earth still hides creatures and worlds we barely understand. Section 7. Inside the shark brain. To understand how sharks detect the world, we must go inside their brain. But unlike humans, a shark's brain is not built for thought. It is built for survival. Every section has a purpose. Hunting. Sensing. Reacting. And decision-making happens in milliseconds. No hesitation. No overthinking. Just instinct refined by hundreds of millions of years. Scientists studying shark neurobiology discovered something fascinating. Sharks prioritize sensory input over memory. Meaning, what they detect in the present moment is more important than anything they learned before. That is why their reactions feel so immediate. So precise. So unstoppable. Section 8. How sharks track you without seeing you. One of the biggest myths about sharks is that they rely only on sight. But vision is actually one of their weakest tools in deep water. Instead, sharks build a multi-layered map of their surroundings. First layer, smell. Sharks can detect a single drop of blood in millions of liters of water. Second layer, vibration. Every movement sends ripples through water like invisible sound waves. Third layer, electricity. Living bodies constantly emit microelectrical fields. Fourth layer, pressure. Even still objects slightly change water flow. When all four layers combine, the shark does not see you. It reconstructs you. Like a 3D biological image. Even if you are hidden behind rocks. Even if visibility is zero. Even if you are completely still. You are still part of the system it reads. Section 9. The role of fear in human body chemistry. Fear is not just an emotion. It is a full biological transformation. When a human becomes afraid underwater, the body changes instantly. Adrenaline floods the bloodstream. Heart rate increases. Muscles tighten for escape. Breathing becomes shallow and fast. And most importantly, electrical activity in the nervous system increases sharply. These changes are not invisible in water. They create subtle disturbances. Pressure shifts. Muscle vibrations. Irregular motion patterns. To a shark, this is not fear. This is data. A signal that something nearby is weak, unstable, or distressed. In nature, weakness attracts attention. Section 10. The myth of the man-eater. Popular culture has shaped sharks into monsters. But reality is more complex. Most shark species do not target humans as prey. In many recorded incidents, a single bite is followed by retreat. This suggests curiosity, not hunting. Sharks often use their bite as a sensory test. They investigate unfamiliar objects through contact. However, in rare situations where visibility is low and panic increases, misidentification can occur. The ocean does not provide clarity. It provides information through sensation. And sometimes, that system can misinterpret signals. Section 11. Why silence makes sharks more dangerous. Silence underwater is not absence of danger. It is the presence of hidden information. Sharks often rely on passive detection. Meaning they wait. They listen to the ocean. They analyze movement patterns. They conserve energy. Then strike only when conditions are optimal. This makes them incredibly efficient predators. But also unpredictable. Because most of their behavior happens below human awareness. You rarely notice a shark before it already knows you are there. Section 12. Human technology versus shark evolution. Humans have built submarines, sonar systems, deep-sea cameras, underwater drones. But all of this technology is still attempting to replicate what sharks already have naturally. Sharks do not need batteries. They do not need calibration. They do not need data processing delays. Their entire body is the system. Every nerve ending is a sensor. Every movement is analysis. Every instinct is output. Evolution has had hundreds of millions of years to refine this design. No human machine comes close to this level of biological integration. Section 13. The limit of shark senses. Despite their incredible abilities, sharks are not invincible. They still have limitations. Strong currents can distort signals. Certain water conditions reduce visibility of chemical traces. Electrical interference can reduce detection accuracy. And most importantly, Sharks are not aggressive machines. They are energy-efficient predators. They avoid unnecessary risk. This means most shark encounters happen only when conditions align perfectly. Opportunity, curiosity, and environmental triggers. Section 14. What scientists still don't understand. Even today, scientists admit there are gaps in shark behavior research. We still do not fully understand how sharks prioritize different sensory inputs. We do not fully understand how they decide when to approach or ignore a target. And we are still studying whether sharks can learn from repeated human encounters. The ocean is still largely unexplored. And sharks remain one of its most advanced mysteries. Final expansion ending. The ocean is watching. The deeper we study sharks, the more we realize something important. They are not monsters. They are not villains. They are survivors. Perfectly adapted to a world humans still struggle to survive in. And in that world, silence is not empty. Darkness is not empty. The ocean is alive with information. Every movement tells a story. Every heartbeat becomes a signal. And every signal can be read. Somewhere beneath the waves, a shark moves through invisible currents. Not hunting emotion. Not hunting fear. But reading the language of life itself. And in that language, nothing is truly hidden.